With that said, let's get our guest speaker on here. He hails from Summersville, South Carolina. He called me several years ago as I was going on stage in Dallas to do a talk in front of 25,000 people on the stage. And I told him I'd get back to him, and I called him back because I want you to be my sponsor. And I want you to get started with you, sir. And I appreciate you from our previous company. And I tell you what, this young man has done such an outstanding job. He's a regional director. His wife's a regional director. They have a partner named Reggie Larson, who's also a regional director. They're poised to be regional vice presidents here within the first quarter of this year. And I'm excited about his conversation. I'm excited about his teaching. Without further ado, can we put a warm welcome to the great one and only regional director on the way to regional vice president, the great Mr. Curtis Evans.
Happy to be here. We're not going to take a lot of time. I just want to talk about a meeting I went to last week so that maybe everybody can benefit from that meeting. We had an opportunity, as I mentioned, to go to Charlotte and spend 2 days. Our team had an opportunity to go to Charlotte and spend 2 days with the co-founders. Okay, so that was really good. It's the LCC meeting, and it was really interesting. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit about what we learned. Yeah, we got there. We were able to do something unusual. We were able to get a brand new IBO into that meeting. Mr. Eddie, he came with us, Mr. Smith, and he got a lot out of that session. He learned a whole lot. We learned a whole lot. The co-founders went over something really important. They were talking mostly about how to get momentum in your business group, how to grow your business at really quick speeds, how to blow up a city. And they gave some great ideas. But one of the things that affected everyone in the room was, after a presentation, after you gave a presentation, did the presentation inspire somebody to get, this is their words, did the presentation inspire somebody to get qualified? What do you want them to do after they got started? So they got started, great, that's good. But did the presentation, the 10, 15, 20-minute, 5-minute presentation, did it inspire them to do two things? One is to get qualified. Two, to go to ETL. Those are the two things you want a brand new IBO to do. Get qualified quickly, that day, that night, tomorrow. Get qualified, and then work their way to ETL. And if we created an ETL factory, he said, the business will work for everybody. Okay, so it's a matter of creating an ETL factory. But most people after a presentation, they're excited. If Mr. Thomas did a presentation for them, an effective presentation, they're excited. They signed up. If you learn to do an effective presentation, they're excited. They got signed up. But that wasn't their question. Their question was, did it incite them, or what caused them from the presentation to want to? He said, you want them to be qualified, but he said, you want them to want to get qualified. They need to want to get qualified. That needs to be a big thing for them to want to become qualified, and a big thing for them to want to be an ETL. So they will work really hard that week, that 2 weeks, to get to ETL, get qualified in a few days and get to ETL. And they acknowledge there was nothing in the presentation that did that. So what happened is, you want to quickly get them to training. That's why at the end of the presentation, notice Mr. Cooper talks about training. And so when we train, we're training them on the services, but more importantly, we are training them to become what? Qualified. Okay? They are again trained in training to become qualified. And in training, they're learning how to become an ETL. Okay? So just imagine if you had 4 or 5 groups of people that were getting into business, they all got qualified, and they brought somebody back. They brought 1 or 2 or 3 people back to go to the same training so that they could get excited about what we have. We have a lot to be excited about, except they don't know it. And you'll hear people say, I was in that, but I didn't make any money. Well, they never got qualified. 1, 2. Number 3, they never went to ETL and got the bonus money. So the bonus money this month for ETL in 30 days is $500. And if they got 5 customers, they could earn what? Another $200 if they have 5 customers. So that's $700 that they did not earn. And they can earn more. They get another 3 customers, they can earn $1,000 that month, the first month in the business, but they never got qualified. So they were pressing really for 2 days. Well, they gave us a background of the company, and they talked about mindset. That was a big deal. But the huge thing was how to create momentum in your area. how to go from 5 to 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 people in your area, how to have an exciting training class, not only on Zoom, but also face to face. And so they talked about the aspects of training and the aspects of the business presentation. And we went through a lot. And we were fortunate enough, Mr. Cooper grabbed us and we were in a corner with him, all 4 or 5 of us, for about an hour. It got to be that long. And he drilled in the you want them to be qualified, but they don't want to be qualified because nobody said anything about being qualified. And so now you're running them down trying to find them to get them qualified. And it's a challenge. He said, if you have 1 or 2 to get qualified, that's tough. Getting them qualified. It's tough to help teach that 1 or 2 to get qualified. But he said, suppose you had 100 IBOs that came to your organization that month. How can you get 100 IBOs qualified if you have a hard time getting 2 qualified? And the thing is, we have to teach those 2 positions, those two positions, CQ, and we got to teach ETL. We got to teach that as a team. We got to get good at doing that. We came back, we cut our wrists and we came back. And that's one of the things that we're determined to do is teach it. So if you teach it in training, they'll leave training class. They will run out and get qualified. And they'll bring somebody back because they want their second rep in the business. They want a rep or 2 in the business. They have people on their list. And so there are people out there, they've never heard of this company. And they talked about it, eating lunch at the corporate, across the street from the corporate office, and asking the waitress if she ever heard of ACN. And they said no. And then they point out the window and show them the sign. So there's people in Charlotte, North Carolina, the worldwide corporate office that have never heard of ACN. And I suspect if that's the case there, that's the case everywhere. So we're in a great market. All of us are, everyone across the country, because as you know, things are higher. People that are making $500 a week or $1,000 a week, that $1,000 doesn't go as far as it used to go. So even though they are making the same thing they used to make, they aren't making the money. They can't, the buying power has dropped immensely. So people now will turn around and ask you, what are you doing? And you can share the opportunity with a video and figuring out how to get back with them, getting those 3, 4, 5 names and numbers a day and converting those over to IBOs. But after that, making sure you get them to training. Now it could be a virtual training if they're out of town or they're busy. So we're gonna figure out how to do that at Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock, and also have a big personal meeting every Saturday here in Charleston. So we've committed to that. So those are some of the things. He went over a couple other things he wants to do to get it in momentum. He said, because once we had a model city and we were doing everything right on Saturday morning and things were working, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 people come to your training on Saturday. He said, after that, your leaders from other cities, fly them in so they can see your model city. So if you got five leaders in 5 cities, instead of you can go there, but he said, fly them to your model city so they can go through a training class. You might say you show them why you're doing what you're doing at 15 minutes after and 20 minutes after and 30 minutes after and all that. So they can understand it, go back to their city and create the same environment. And he said that gets you into momentum phase when things are happening without you really being aware of it or cognizant of it. It's a very, very simple system. Get them to a presentation so they can see the business, and then force them to get to a training. Tell them that's a big thing, because it is. He said a lot of people come to training and sign up. The second exposure, they just get it then. Show them the money, but make sure they get to training, because you have more time to go over the 2 things you want them to do, and that's get qualified and get to ETL so they can see that first month's bonus. So I hope that helps you. That helped us a whole lot. Now they went over a lot. Mindset, being around the wrong people. If you're around the wrong people all the time, and I'm not saying they're not good people. They could be your brother, you could be your uncle, your cousin, you could be people you know at work, your very, 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 very best friends. They're still your friends, they'll always be your friends. But you know, if they're negative all the time, sometimes that can wear on you. And so what happens next is you slow down after hanging around a bunch of negative people for an hour. So all the co-founders said that they were really particular about who they hang with. They got to hang with positive people. And if they're around some negative people, it's just for a minute or 2. It's for a baseball game or football game. And then they got to get back around some positive people, because, you know, people will be talking about, well, do the best you can. And I'm barely making it, but I'm good. It's just good to be alive. That's, you know, it's just, some of the stuff is true, but there's more to life than just being alive. I mean, there's more to life than just mean a lot. There are a lot of people that wish they had the opportunity we have in the United States. There are a lot of people that wish they had the opportunity that you have today because you're healthy. There are a lot of people that wish we had what we have, but then there's so much more to see. Like Mr. Thomas talked about with vision casting, showing them places in the world they've never been to. The art of going down the Pacific Coast Highway in California and seeing the ocean on one side, mountains on the other side, or to Alaska, or to London, or to Germany, or to Italy. Those are things that you want to do, or learn a new sport, or learn to play a guitar. There are lots of things to learn how to do. And sometimes we get too wound up on just living, just sucking air and drinking water. So we want to be around people that want more time, or they want more money. Okay, there's a lot of, and Mr. Googles mentioned it. He said there are a lot of people, he knows a lot of people that make a lot of money, more money than we make, lots of money, but they have no time. They have no life because they have no time. They don't own the business owns them. And then there are a lot of people that have tons of time. They can't go anywhere because they don't have any money. They can't do anything. They don't have any money. And so network marketing has a unique, that's why we love it so much. It can give you both time and money. It's a unique business you're in. So don't let anybody talk you out of it. Don't let them talk you back into the box so that you're back in there with them. No money, a lot of time, no time, a lot of money. We don't want to be there. So that's basically what we learned last week. We're really excited about putting all that we learned into practice. And toward the end of the meeting, the IBO, the brand new IBO that just came in, and Eddie's done an excellent job. Now he's put in, I can't even count, probably 10, 15 IBOs in the last couple of weeks. And so now we're going to install some of the systems that we learned and really take off. So we'll be in Summerville, South Carolina this weekend with Al Thomas, Mr. Thomas, and we will be learning a lot more. And then we're going to start our training here in another week, a week and a half. But we're really excited about the Fort Worth convention that's coming up. That's a huge convention. So go to finance company, your uncle, cousin, brother, borrow some money and be in Fort Worth on March 10th. Okay, figure it out. But you got to be there. It's the 30th anniversary. They promised us some big things going to be announced.
I want to say something very powerful that you said last time. You said when you saw the opportunity, you went and you borrowed the money, right? Tell that
Yes.
story real quick. Tell that story real quick before I come back on. Tell everybody what you had to go do to get started.
Okay, yeah. So I was married. My first wife, she passed away. But I was married. I had 4 kids. We had 4 kids together, and she didn't work because it cost too much to work and then pay the daycare center. So she stayed home. So I was a bread earner. And then the bread earner was so we didn't have money. We had a good life, but we didn't have money. And so when it was time to get started with the business, I was ready to get started. The one thing that helped me back was the money to get started with. At that time, it was $590. It could have been $1,000, it could have been $2,000, could have been $300, but I didn't have it. And so instead of waiting to save it up until I got it, I went out to a finance company and got the refrigerator ID number and the microwave ID number and the washing machine's ID number, and took it down there and borrowed the money that it took to get the business started. And I worked the business, worked. I think the last year of Excel, that business went out of business. And the last year I made close to $200,000 that year. Okay. And suppose I said, well, I would have got started, but I don't have the $600. So it's an investment. And I tell people, poor people, and I'm not talking about anyone here, but poor people, poor means passing over opportunities regularly. Poor people see $500, $600, or $1,000 as a expense. They spending money. I mean, they see the spending money. And people that want to do well, that's why I say it's important about who you hang with. They see it as an investment. And you're telling me that you can't invest in you. Some people think they're sending ACN some money. You're getting a business in 27 countries, multiple products, 50 states, legal, and you're getting it for under $500. That's an investment. So if you look at it like an investment, borrow it, pay the $40 a month or $50 a month and pay it off. If it took you 12 months, fine, but you'll knock it out the first month if you just do what they ask you to do. So borrow the money. That's a mentality anybody has. Do you think Mr. Musk had all that money to start Tesla? You think Jeff Bezos had all that money to start up something called Amazon? No, they borrowed the money. That's normal and natural thing. So just invest in yourself. I think that's what you wanted me to talk about.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Did you guys catch what he said? He went to borrow the money. Why are we so afraid to tell people to go borrow the money? They'll go borrow for shoes. What's Sam Foss talking about? People go in the store and get sneakers cost $400 and $500. They'll borrow for rent. They'll borrow for a car. Watch this. Odell was in town. You realize her concert tickets were $1,000 to $1,500? That blew my mind. Isn't it amazing when people borrow money for stuff they buy and the next week ain't worth a quarter?